Welcome to the Urban Cowgirl Show. Part 2, pairs driving with harness pole.
We've got Sadie ready to go. That's the baby. Only with the lead line and the Monty Roberts dually halter on. Can you zoom in on that for me, Kyle? So for those who don't know what a Monty Roberts dually halter is, it really is a nice training device. Right now we just have it as a halter, a flat nylon halter. But if we need to get Sadie's attention, respect, and so forth, can you point to the ring closest to you? We'll put our lead line on one side or the other of the dually halter, which will give us like a stud chain control or rope halter control. Recall that we only use flat halters when we're in harness because the rope halters tend to get hung up on all of the harness hardware if the horse happens to turn its head. So we've learned by experience to avoid rope halters. This Monty Roberts gives us the convenience and the safety of the flat halter, yet the control that one often needs and can get from a rope halter. Now, we've shown you in past recent shows that Eve is statuesque when it comes to this simulated training harness pole. Sadie is still jumpy, still spooky about it. That's why we have Eve and her drive lines lined up next to our homemade training harness pole that we ultimately will connect to this pair's collars. But we are not doing that yet. We want to make sure that once connected, we have everything that might spook them, everything possible, desensitized. And I have explained this story in greater detail recently, but I'm going to explain it very quickly today again. I'm very concerned, always have been, always will be, and now double concerned because I read an article in my Small Farmers Journal that describes a terrible wreck that happened with a pair of horses that the handler thought were trained and yet didn't respond properly when one of the horses stepped over the harness pole. And that spooked both of them, and the horses were connected to a sled, and the handler got thrown off, and the horses had an object following them in their reactive right brain response to concern, which is natural for a horse, and they went through a fence. They ran over a person that was trying to get their attention, and luckily nobody was seriously hurt, but boy, did that drive that point home to me. My concern about stepping over the training harness pole is a valid concern. I don't want to have a wreck, especially when the horses are connected to each other in pairs driving. Now I'm going to show you how I'm going to continue to train Sadie, Eve's daughter, to accept something like this. It's just a long piece of PVC, to accept it in various places on their body and then between the legs. Because if a horse in harness, a pair of horses or more than a pair, step over the harness pole, it will be all of a sudden a pole between their legs. It's all right. Now if Sadie starts getting naughty, we'll put the lead line on the side ring and have the right tool to explain to her with pressure that she's giving us the wrong answer. She's definitely standoffish. Eve is asleep. Can you zoom in on that, Kyle? And that's what I love about Eve. I think she's probably my best harness horse. Doesn't mean she can't spook. Doesn't mean she won't spook. But I have the most confidence in Eve, and I think she has confidence in us. Now I'm walking around. Ooh. Sadie also doesn't like the sound of somebody stepping on these poles. So we need to get her desensitized to that too. I'm going to touch her. You know what? Put it on the side ring, just in case she starts being naughty. You'll have a way to explain to her, timely, that she's being naughty. And that is, you'll be putting pressure on that double-stranded nylon on her nose. It's all right. All right. High, low, side, woo.
Good
Okay,
girl.
now, behind. Will she allow me to walk behind her? Last time we did this, she was a little bit concerned. It's all right. We didn't have Eve out here, though, when we did that. We just want her to gain confidence, not just because she's confident in us, but because she's confident in Eve, her mother. We want her to notice that Eve is not concerned at all. Not only is Eve's neck down and soft, but look at her left rear leg cocked. Her eyes were closed. Now they're open, but they're not blinking a lot. But they're not bulging. Blinking eyes can mean that a horse is fine, but if they're not blinking and bulging, that means they're looking, they're scared. Eve is blinking now. She is not scared. Her body language is telling us that. Look what Sadie's doing. Look at her ears. Her back legs are not cocked. She's moved herself away from being parallel to the harness pole. I'm going to walk back around her. It's all right. It's all right. Put the pole down on the ground. It's a different... you see, she's scared. She's scared. It's all right. I'm going to slowly bring it up. She's smelling it. She's investigating. Good. 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 Now she's licking her lips. She's moving her lips. She's flapping her lips, which is a good sign. If their lips and their chin are very tight, then they are nervous. We've got a team of 5 people today. I don't know if we're going to need this much help today, but I'd rather have it and not use it than need it and not have it. We're going back into position here. Okay, can we get her hips over? At least get her in proper position. That's it? Good?
Good
Good?
girl.
Good? Now, the last time we touched her, and I studied the video from last time, we touched her on her shoulder, and something spooked her. And we didn't have the training harness pole on the ground. Today, we have that extra added training harness pole on the ground, which she might touch. Whoop. Good. I touched her very gently. It's all right. Very gently on the right shoulder.
Easy. Good girl.
Okay, all right. She's not exactly relaxed. She's moving around. She's maybe trying to nibble at Katie's hand.
She knows I have treats in my pocket.
Oh, and there's treats in Katie's pocket, so she knows that. Okay. Eve is still fine. Keep watching Eve. She's still relaxed. Her eyes are closed. She's not looking stiff anywhere, and her head is not up. It's one thing to have vertical flexion, but if the head is up, then there's still stiffness in the neck. It's all right. See if I can touch her. Nah, see, she's still concerned. Now, if she were to start being concerned and dancing around and touch this, that would make her even more concerned, because she's still not used to that sound of stepping on ABS or PVC. Okay, now I'm not going to remove the pressure until she stops. The pressure is just being close to her shoulder. Because if I remove it, she'll say, oh, all I have to do is move around and the pressure will be gone. Now she stopped. I'm going to go down. All right, then go back into position. The whole concept is the reward is the removal of pressure. So don't, if you can, within parameters of safety, don't remove the pressure if the wrong answer is being given. Oh, good. Let's try that again. It's all right. Give her confidence. We're trying to gain mutual confidence. We work on the obstacles all the time, on our trail obstacles, doing that too. It's all right. Okay, I'm going to touch her.
Good girl.
Good. She looked at it. She did one short step back, but she's okay on it. Okay, just to finish up today, I'm going to do what is my biggest concern. standing where she is, and Katie, she might jolt forward. I'm going to touch her on her back legs, first on the outside, then on the inside. If we survive the outside without her changing position, it's all right.
Easy.
It's all right. When she walks out like that, that's not the right answer. So do a little jerk with the double-stranded nylon across her nose. Let her know that that's not the right answer. It's all right. It's all right. It's all right. She could kick out, but I'm out of strike zone. Touched her. Easy now. Easy. Easy. Touched her. Now she's about to step on the ABS. You see she got concerned. We're going to keep doing this one tiny baby step, literally, at a time. Okay, now I know that on the outside I'm going to get a reaction. What's going to happen if I touch her on the inside?
Good girl.
Good. Ah, the leg went up. She said, there's something touching me there. I'm not used to it.
Good girl.
Good. Now here, it went up again. I'm going to see if I can do it. There. It didn't go up that time. Now, Eve, when we did this to Eve, in our last session with her, she didn't move a muscle. She didn't lift a leg. It didn't scare her. It didn't spook her. It wasn't an object that we had to deal with, a fleeing or concerned reaction from the horse. But with Sadie, we clearly do have to be concerned about it, and we can't let them do pairs driving until we're quite confident that Sadie is no longer concerned about a harness pole between her legs, because anything, even for Eve, anything could spook them at any time, and they may step over it. Now, I watch old westerns all the time, and on my last wagon train rerun, I saw a stagecoach driver with 3 reins in each hand. 1, 2, 3 between his middle fingers. And I looked at the stagecoach, and there were 6 horses there. So what was happening? He was controlling at a fast run 6 horses with 3 reins and using cross-check reins for each pair. And we're going to make it our objective to control 2 horses with 1 pair of reins, using 1 set of cross-check reins for the pair of horses that we're driving. And if it takes us months, if it takes us years, we're still going to do it a baby step at a time, and we'll show you our progress. And that's all for today. Fortunately, nothing happened that is of concern, but we know we are going to take tiny baby steps. Here I go again, another training tool. This is like a 3-inch pipe, plastic, very lightweight, with some sounds because there's some hardware on it and some through bolts. We're not working with Eve today. This is part of pairs driving, but this is training only Sadie, my youngster, who needs a lot more training than Eve does. Getting something on the side of her body that she isn't afraid of, that can ultimately be the training harness pole and then the real harness pole. Okay, so once again, desensitize, sack her out to it. The next step is to sensitize her to it, and that's why I have the hardware on there. Hook it up and ask her to move with it. But I'm not going to hook it up until I'm sure she's okay on having it around her, making noise, touching her. Now remember, she might jump. I'm going to say, okay, yeah, you see that avoidance. We might have wanted to use the Monty Roberts today, but we'll see. We'll see how spooky she gets. It's all right. I'm going to just walk around her. It's all right. It's all right. It's all right. It's all right. Watch her. See, she sees me and hears me coming from the other end. That's okay. By the way, she was just trimmed today, so we're not doing a lot of training today. Just some of this desensitization and then sensitization. Her hooves were trimmed today. I do it every 4 weeks now. I just feel, especially because they don't have shoes on, that it's appropriate, and I recommend it. If I change my mind, I'll let you know on one of my videos, but I feel that the farrier and proper hoof care is extremely important. It's all right. It's all right. See how she's still avoiding? Okay, now I'm gonna, okay, let her come around. By the way, this is her mom. We left her mom here in the training area because it is her mom. And her mom is not scared by these things. So horses sometimes learn from each other, especially from a parent or a sibling that they trust. We will do this over and over and over again until we get no fear or concern from her. Like we got from Eve. If you look at my Stoneboat video that we recently finished, Eve doesn't even blink an eye at stuff like this. So we're going to get Sadie so she trusts us too. Okay, investigation. There's Eve checking out what's going on here. Touch her, touch her, touch her, touch her. Okay, I didn't let go right away because we need to confront. There we go, she's investigating. She says, now that thing's stuck on me. And Eve is curious here at the other end, but not showing any fear. Sadie is, her ears are back. She's blowing through her nostrils. Most definitely doesn't trust it yet. The reason I put this hardware on, wishful thinking, I want to be able to at least feel comfortable with a quick release to hook it to the carabiner on the front of her collar and walk with it next to her. This is the long eye bolt that we just put through. This is the carabiner on the eye bolt. And here is the quick release that's going to hook to the carabiner right here on her collar when she lets us do it. Blowing out of her nostrils. Still doesn't trust it. Let's show you what Eve thinks about it. She's doesn't even have a halter on. Checking it out, curious. I know Sadie's watching. We'll walk towards Eve. Let's see what Eve does. Touching her on the shoulder like I did with Sadie. Stepping back, but she's not blowing out of her nostrils. Then she stopped. She said, oh, I'm not afraid of this thing. Then I'm going to walk up to Eve on the side. See if she'll allow me to approach the side. If Eve had a collar on, I would feel comfortable hooking up this quick release to it and walking with Eve. I don't feel comfortable to do that to Sadie yet. You agree? Angela knows Eve and Sadie very well too. I don't feel comfortable doing that, but I am going to do another thing which we began in our last session. I'm going to touch her back legs ever so slightly because that's my biggest fear. Will she spook at having the training harness or the tug straps touch her back legs, her lower back legs? That's where the wrecks tend to happen. It's all right. 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 Talking to her, giving her confidence. It's all right. It's all right. Yeah, she's still stepping away. Come on around. Notice we let them get away. That's their nature. But we make them come right back and confront the fear. Our concern is that she'll get so scared that she'll bolt away and run away. And this is fully fenced, but it's still scary. That's why we don't have the drive lines on. They're standing by nearby, and the tug straps are standing by nearby. And when we're ready, we'll put them on too. But just in case she bolts, we don't want those long lines flying through the air, wrapping around her legs, causing even more stress. I'm watching her body language. As she starts to move away, I stop until she comes close again, and I say, okay, I think you'll tolerate. Still no trust, still concerned. She's really watching with her eyeballs. It's all right. Now I'm gonna very quietly touch her on her ribs. Very quietly. Good. She's okay on that. She's okay on that. I'm going to extend it. It's all right. Touch her farther back. She's okay on that. But as I get farther back, you see she gets scared again. Still concerned. I'm going to get to a point where it's just before she gets concerned, and then we'll quit for today. Another baby step in pairs driving training with a training harness pole and the pole simulator. Going with her. Not quite touching. Come back around. I didn't want her to bolt away into the camera. Again, I'm glad that Eve is here, showing no fear. Back, darling. Back. Good. It's all right. I step back because you don't want to get into strike zone when there's a possible fear reaction. Whoa. It's all right. It's all right. Whoa. A little bit firmer request. Whoa. Walk away, come back. We have just a web halter on. Next time we'll use the Monty Roberts, which has a web halter, but also a double-stranded nylon, which makes it more of a training tool. Now, if she keeps getting away with walking away, we could be starting a bad habit. Oh. Okay, I'm touching her ribs, going with her, back around. I touched it for 2 or 3 seconds until she walked away and started getting real stressed. She's licking her lips, that's a good sign. Oh, whoa! Oh. Notice the change we have so that the collar can't fall forward on her neck. We have the collar chained to the saddle. Usually, if you're using drive lines, the drive lines will keep the collar, and the tug straps will keep the collar from falling forward. Okay, back her up. You know, back is a real good focus gatherer. Back, 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 back. Now walk up to it. Step up. Good. Whoa.
Oh.
Back her up again.
Back.
Good.
Back. Back.
Nice. Okay. Forward.
Step up.
She's still checking it out. Whoa. Whoa.
Easy.
Is she trying to get close to her mom here?
Yeah.
Yeah. Does mom help me? I'm concerned. I'm going to walk around. You know, if there were other shows that would film, you know, would show you this kind of stuff, I'd sure tell you about it. But you know, I watch a lot of shows on RFD TV and check a lot of things out on the internet, and I haven't found anything that's this detailed. Showing you what works and doesn't work, showing you different horses responding to the same tack. My objective now for this session is just to let her feel it on her ribs and toe with that feel. It's all right. No, we may have to step a step back. If you can't get the right answer in this session, go to something you know you can get and quit on that note. It's all right. It's all right. Which is what I'm doing right now. I'm quitting on this note of resolution that she investigated, didn't step away, didn't dance around, licking her lips, head is down, not showing a lot of stress. Sometimes at the next session, while you think you only made a few small steps in the right direction at this session, sometimes they just jump right into the next step if you leave them with a good thought. So that's what we're doing today. This is Pairs Training with Sadie, Eve's daughter.
See more at www.urbancowgirlchannel.com.